evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, club members. Thank you for joining us in this series of the MREA series for MREA club members. This is a private and exclusive membership for producing agents in our region. And thank you very much for joining us tonight. And today we are in the last installment of the MREA model, which is a model that we don't really talk a lot about here in the region of Malaysia. We are beginning to start that conversation as we have more people building teams and hiring their admins and looking at buyers agents coming soon in their business. So I don't want to spend so much time talking about this. I'm going to pass the time to both Ken and Pamela Temple, all the way from North Carolina, if not mistaken. Am I right?
Correct.
Right, North Carolina. And Ken has started with us a couple of weeks ago. He brought on that economic model, and today he's going to be here with, I believe, his wife Pamela to share with us the organizational model. So Ken and Pamela, thank you for joining us. The floor is yours right now.
Oh, thank you guys for having us. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys spending your night with us, because I know last time I was here, I think you were missing the Olympics. I don't know if maybe you're missing Malaysian Bachelor right now. I don't know what's on TV over there, but thank you for spending your evening with us. Like Jonathan was saying, I'm Kent Temple. It's my wife, Pam Temple. When it comes to Keller Williams, we have done almost everything there is to do. Pam was an agent, then I was an agent. We became our mega agents. Pam was on the Agent Leadership Council. I was on the International Leadership Council. Pam was a team leader for 8 years. I'm an OP of 2 market centers, and together we run 5 different offices for Keller Williams. Pam was on the original board that set up the Keller Williams Luxury Division and is still on that board. And in fact, she went to Keller Williams International and was a director of luxury for a year, actually lived in Austin for a year and did that. Pam was a MAPS coach. I think one of the things we're most proud of is there's 180-some thousand agents across the world. Now there's 180,000, there's only 47 master faculty. And Pam and I are 2 of that master faculty. We work real hard to get that. And you could, well, what does master faculty get you? Well, master faculty gets you opportunities like this to talk to people on the other side of the world and help them improve their business, because Keller Williams has given me opportunities I never dreamed I could have. And so that's what Pam and I do now, is we try to give back some of those opportunities to other people. So today we're going to do the organizational model. Anything you want to add to that?
Nope, you covered it. Good job, honey. Good job. Yeah, so before, I guess you kind of gave what qualifies us to teach this model, but before you get into that, I just want to recap a lot of what Holly Prescott delivered to us in the first section, which all about mindset, before we recap the first 3 models as well. So I know that you guys have all been introduced to this multiple times, which is your millionaire real estate agent book, right? So I want, if you have your books with you, go ahead and turn to page 49. And as Holly said, the first third of the entire Millionaire Real Estate Agent book is all about your mindset. And Gary Keller teaches this amazing class called Quantum Leap. And if you guys haven't brought it to Malaysia, you should for sure. And if you've already taken it, you absolutely need to take it again. You can't take it too many times, because what the purpose of that class is for you to understand that everything you do starts from the inside. It's first creation, second creation. It's from your inside to your outside. And that's all about your mindset. And so Holly kind of went through the 6 myth understandings between you and high achievement, and that's on page 49. And I want to just talk about the second myth, and it says, it can't be done in my market. Okay, you've heard from John and Holly and Jackie and all of us have really big businesses, and sometimes that's the limiting belief that we have, that it just can't be done in your market. Well, the truth is, yes, it can, but you may need a new approach. And then if you turn to page 54, I believe, I want to read you a quick paragraph, and it says, and here is the great truth I have personally experienced. And this is coming from Gary Keller himself. He says, the first one to overcome this myth understanding enjoys a distinct advantage in his marketplace. If you believe and your competition does not, there is one less obstacle between you and your goals, and that's a big one. So the biggest thing is just believe that you can, believe that you deserve an organization around you. I think John touched on this in the lead generation model, but he says that, and Gary says, you have to understand that you're a business owner first. All right, a business owner. That means you're going to have an organization around you. And then you're a lead generator second, before you become a realtor. So you have to have that in your mindset, right?
Yeah, Gary says that you have two jobs, your chosen profession and lead generation. No matter what it is, you have two jobs.
Right, right. And being the owner of that business is what you need to remember that that you are. So the first model, and this is a quick tip that I love to give everybody. So we always like to quiz people, like, what are the 4 models of the MREA? And you would be surprised the people that don't know these models. Even in leadership, you'd be surprised the people that don't know the models. So I'm gonna give you a quick tip. This is my favorite tip. So I want you to remember your elbow, your ELBO. All right. So Kent and Joseph brought you the economic model. That's your E, where you talk about the numbers that you must hit. You focus on appointments and understand that if you really don't like lead generating, you better be really good at lead conversion.
Yeah. And when Joseph and I brought you that model, that I told you our one goal was to get you to start thinking like a business person. Mm-hmm. So if you go back and you watch that video, you'll notice that day the t-shirt I had on was think like a CEO, think like a business person.
Think like a business person, exactly. And so John brought you the lead generation model. That's the L and your elbow. And he taught you about prospecting and marketing, that you should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Taught you about setting up a database and systematically marketing to it. That's the key. If you want to systematically market to your database, you need people to help you. And that's what we're here to talk to you about today. And then, of course, focus on seller listings. And then Jackie did a great job in the budget model, ELB, the budget model, the B word, as I like to call it, where she talked about leading with revenue, playing red light, green light with your money, and how to stick to the budget. And then today, we're here to talk about your organizational model. The people, the systems, the tools that you surround yourself with. And that's the O. So if anybody asks you what the models of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent are, now you have your little cheat sheet, if you will, and you'll be able to recite them. So
yeah, so today we're doing the organizational model. So I chose this shirt for today. No one succeeds alone. Right. And it is so true. You will never hit big goals and big things until you surround yourself with talented people. By the way, Pam, I just noticed that Joseph is on here watching. Awesome. And so everybody in Malaysia, if you would go ahead and put in the chat how much more pleasing the screen looks today with Pam on there instead of Joseph, I would appreciate that. Let him know that we do love him and all that he brings. So I gave you a little bit about Pam and our history with Keller Williams. Here's what qualifies to teach today's model, the organizational model. And it's because Pam got into the business in 1998. I joined in 2005. And then in 2007, we decided that we were going to build a team. Now, Pam read this book. Pam gave me this book to read, and we read it, but we didn't implement it. So in late 2007, Pam goes and becomes a team leader, and I start this team, and I failed miserably. From 2007 to 9, I tried to do things my way. I didn't follow a model. I didn't hire the right way. Whoever walked in the door, I would give them a seat. And in 2009, we had to shut everything down. We had to stop and start over. And in 2009, I said, if it's not in this book, I'm not going to do it. Now, there have been times that maybe I didn't follow it exactly, and I always regret it when I don't. But we've done our best to build a team this way. A couple of weeks ago when I was on here, I told you that I have a 6th level team. And I said, if you know what that is, hang around for organizational model. So today we're going to talk about what it looks like to go through to a 6th or 7th level team and maybe even expansion as you go on. So that's going to be the theme of today's organizational model. If you have your book, turn to page 158. Page 158. I'm at the very bottom, the last paragraph down there. And here's what it says. It says, at the beginning of your real estate career, you are a lead generator, a showing agent, a seller listing agent, a bookkeeper, a runner, a call coordinator, and many other things all in one. When you aren't having fun, or when you're feeling overwhelmed, is the time to find someone to help with the other jobs. You don't have enough arms and legs to do everything all the time. In fact, and listen to this, in fact, at some point, everyone should aspire to have assistance just to avoid burning out. And to leverage that, hiring someone can bring to your business is the fastest, surest way to continue up the path to becoming a millionaire real estate agent. Gary Keller sums it up like this. Gary Keller says, if you don't have a maid, you are one. If you don't have somebody that cuts your lawn, you're a landscaper. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to know that until you leverage things out of your life, those are your jobs. And man, do agents have what, one or two things they have to do, Pam?
I think it's about 192 plus. 192 plus. So I'm going to start sharing my screen with you guys. And we will make sure we get this done correctly. There we go. All right. So why don't you, let's kick us off, Kent, and talk to us about level one.
So yeah, so level one, like I say, you're doing everything. And here's what the research shows at level one. The research shows that a solo agent by themselves with no help can spend a maximum of about 40% of their time in sales. And that means they spend 60% of the time in the other stuff that is not lead generation or sales. They spend the other 60%, paperwork or inputting stuff or scheduling things, but only 40% of the time is done in what makes them money, which is lead generation and sales. And so that's where you start looking at all the things that you do. That this breaks it down to what, about 6 or 7 on that list. But Pam, you know where the list is for the 192 plus.
Right. So in your areas of mastery, your personal productivity, it talks about your lead generation, your capture, your conversion to appointments. It talks about your presentations to the buyers and sellers to get the agreement, showing buyers, marketing sellers, writing and negotiating contracts, coordinating sales to closing, and of course, managing the money. So I want to introduce you to Keller Inc. If you guys have not visited that website, you're missing out on a ton of information, a ton of just great resources, if you will, for all of our books. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the Hold book, the Shift book, the One Thing book. It really outlines how you can hold an amazing millionaire real estate agent book club. But one of my favorite things.
I want to hit that real quick.
Okay.
So what she said, kellerinc.com. So it's Keller like Gary, Keller Inc. INK. Kellerinc.com is where you're going to find all this great stuff she's talking about.
Christine will put it in the chat for you guys. But they have an amazing Excel spreadsheet. You guys, you can see this, pages and pages of tasks that you are responsible for. And until you hire your first hire, which is your administrative side that we'll talk about, it tells you everything that should be your priority and then what is an extra item. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to look at this spreadsheet. If you're wondering what, okay, you get up every morning, and if you're going to win the day, what are you supposed to do? Okay, there's a difference, and I think Holly talked about it. We're going from E to P, entrepreneurial to purposeful. So entrepreneurial people just get up and they fly by the seat of their pants, right? That's what we do. We're an entrepreneurial industry in terms of real estate. But if you want to bring purpose to your life and to your day and to your business, you're going to get these tasks out, and you're not going to do anything unless it has a P beside of it, and that's a priority for your business.
Yeah, John Prescott last week when he was talking to you guys. And John Prescott was talking about how entrepreneurial he was, about how much money he was making, and he wasn't keeping any of it.
Right.
And he didn't say this, but the flip for John is when he changed over and became purposeful.
Right. And the great thing about this tool that you get in Keller Inc., the 192 task of a millionaire real estate agent, is at the very bottom, you can toggle down to whatever role it is that you maybe have. I know we've got a lot of mega agents on the call today. We might have some administrative side, maybe transaction coordinators, buyers agents, listing specialists, whatever that might be. Toggle at the bottom and you can create just your job list for whatever level that you are in at this time. So an amazing resource, take advantage of it. They also have in that, this is a little side note, called the 3 L's blueprints. We've already talked about the 3 L's, and that's your 20% as a millionaire real estate agent. The 3 L's is, of course, leads, listings, and leverage, which is what we're going to talk to you today about.
Yeah. So, and I know the question came up is, how much, last week somebody asked, see, Pam and I we do listen to this stuff. That, you asked how many deals can a solo agent do? John Prescott gave the number 20, and I would say that's a pretty common answer. I'm going to tell you, even the best of the best are going to max out at about 25. you just because there's just so much to do there. And again, that's here. Maybe yours will be a little bit different, but there is going to be a point. Gary Keller says it like this. He says, when you find yourself bumping your head on the ceiling or banging your head on the wall, you're missing a key relationship.
Right.
And so that's what we're going to talk about now is those key relationships.
Absolutely.
So when you go to level 2, so we're going to actually, believe it or not, we're going to spend more time on level 2 right now than any other level. And here's why, because everything that we're going to talk to you about hiring the first person is going to apply to every person you ever hire. It's all going to be part of it. So this is where we're going to spend a lot of time. Now, Holly did mindset, and Holly told you that her favorite page in the book was page 122, where it showed the models. Now we're going to do
our business wheel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's our business wheel.
That's our business.
But now we're going to do Kent's favorite page, because my favorite page is page 161. Okay. So if you'll turn to page, if you got your book, turn to page 161. And this is called Hire Talent. It says the fundamental principle guiding any hiring decision you ever make is this: always strive to hire talent. We say someone is talent when they are a superb match for the criteria you've established for a particular position. By this, we mean their natural abilities, skills, experience, and aspirations all line up around the job description and give them every reason to succeed at a very high level. This allows you to judge people against clear criteria instead of judging them as people. A candidate is therefore either a great fit or not a fit for the job, rather than being a good or bad person. When you surround yourself with talent, your life will never be the same. Hiring a truly talented person can take your business further than an entire busload of less talented ones. Here's how you'll know when you've hired talent. Talent pushes to get answers. Non-talent will have to be pushed to want answers. Talent shares your goals and fulfills your needs as a natural byproduct of fulfilling their own. Non-talent doesn't fulfill your needs and ends up giving you back pieces of its job. Talent knows what it wants or is actively searching to know. Non-talent doesn't know what it wants and isn't searching. Talent pushes you constantly. Non-talent requires you to push it. And talent is continually raising the bar and wants to be associated with talent. Non-talent may not know where the existing bar is set or even what bar you're talking about. Talent can truly, truly change your life. And that's why we're having this conversation about leverage. Leverage is adding those people into your life. Now here's, Pam, my second favorite definition of leverage is this. Leverage is the exchange of money for time. Absolutely. My favorite definition of leverage is this. Leverage is the exchange of your money for your time back. And so that kind of kicks off, I think, a good lead into the leverage series.
Right. Yeah. So Gary has created this leverage series called Career Visioning. We call it CV. All right. And it's all about finding that right talent. Diane Baker, one of our market centers administrators, she was at the bank the other day, and it's got bought out by another bank, and they are shuffling people and getting rid of great talent. And she says, Pam, this lady is talent, right? We know it when we see it because we have it around us already, and you can kind of point it out. And she's like, we have to find a place for her. I'm like, well, where are we going to put her? We don't have a place for her. And Diane was like, well, I don't know where we're going to put her, but we're never going to turn away talent. So really understanding what you're looking for, going through career visioning, you're going to understand. Kent mentioned the word candidate. You're going to find candidates for your positions that you need to hire too. And there's 3 parts of it. First is career visioning, is understanding who the talent is. You'll give them personality behavioral assessments. That's called the KPA. Hopefully you guys have taken a KPA. It's the Keller personality assessment. One of my most favorite things to do, Kent, and you know this, is to take people through that verification, their validation, to make sure that they actually understand who they are. Every single time I go through a KPA verification or validation with somebody, they always say, nobody's ever spent that much time with me. Nobody's ever taken the time to get to know who I am. And it's probably one of the most engaging relationship building activities that you can do. The second part of career visioning is success through others. And that's where we really learn how to train people, right? Gary talks a lot about working in your business and on your business. And this is where you really work on your business and making sure that the people that you hire can be successful in their role. All right. And then the last part of that is 30-60-90, where they have job tasks, job deliverables that they have to do in the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And that's really like a trial period for them and for you. I really think it probably doesn't take 90 days, to be honest with you. I think you know whether it's a good fit for you and a good fit for them probably within the first 60 days.
Well, the beauty of the 30-60-90 is if you actually put somebody on day one and go, hey, you're going to be on 30-60-90, the understanding is there that if they don't hit what they're supposed to hit at 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, then you're no longer in business together.
Right.
It's actually, you're out if they're not the right.
Run,
yeah, it's not, if you're not the right fit for the job, it sets you up really well. So Pam, first hire. I wish I had time to go in with you guys all the reasons that you don't hire anything else first besides an admin, but just trust me on this. You hire admin help first. That is the first hire, is that administrative person. And I know, Pam, one of your favorite things to talk about is the 80-20. So,
Right.
so tell us about what that admin's going to do for them.
Well, the 80-20 principle is key to everything in our life, pretty much. But we all know that 20% of our activities results in 80% of our production, right? 20% of our activities gives us 80% of our results. So when you are looking at the 192 tasks of a real estate agent, there's really just a few key things that you're supposed to be doing. And we talked about that earlier. But once prospecting and marketing and going on appointments and negotiating offers, right? If we're really in that zone, there's not enough time to do all the administrative roles. Okay. And you said the first key hire is the administrative role. You need to get rid of the administrative side, because let's face it, if you are a true salesperson, we're not good at those things anyway. I mean, Kent and I could barely turn on the computer this morning, and that's no joke. But we know, and it's not a joke.
People had to come in this morning to set this up. This is true.
But that's not our talent level. There are people that really, really understand this, can take you to the next level by taking those things away from you. Taking those things away from you. They'll actually, when you hire talent, you'll be doing something, making a brochure, entering a listing into the MLS or whatever those administrative roles are. And let me tell you, they are super important. Like, our business won't function without them, yet we do not need to be doing them. Okay, that's not where our time is best spent. But the people that do that for us loves what they do. And the key is finding that right first key hire in the administrative role, so that they take that 80% away from you, so that you can stay in concentrating on leads and listings.
Yeah. So, you know, if Jonathan, don't answer this, Jonathan, but if you said, hey, Jonathan, so in your world, who does all the crappy jobs that nobody else would want to do? And he would probably say, well, Christine does. And then if I went to Christine and I said, Christine, so who does the crappy stuff at your office? She'd be like, oh, Jonathan does. He's always on a Zoom. He's always talking to this, because they're two completely different personalities. And that's why they work so well together. Because I'm gonna tell you, the people, our administrative people, who we have no idea what they do, couldn't do their job, they no more want to be on this side of a camera for all the money in the world. So that's what you have to understand, is that we are all different. So yes, yeah. She's like, why am I on the camera now? Can I close this out?
Yeah, I mean, it's the most important hire that you'll make. It's the most important hire. So let's talk about training these people.
All right. So, and here's where, you know, obviously Pam and I have been married for almost 30 years and with a bunch of kids, and we run businesses together. That does not mean we always agree. So for the training accountability part, we each have something we want to read. So I'm going to start, just because mine's on page 164 and hers is after that. So at the bottom of page 164, here's what it says. It says, this is the way training and consulting should work. You train someone initially to understand the job, learn the skills, and develop the systems required to do the job at a high level. They then start taking action. Every week, you meet with them to review goals, priorities, and weekly tasks, and to hold them accountable. As necessary, you'll also be making sure they get the additional training they need to continue their growth and improve their ability to excel at the job. Just like you, your employees should set annual goals and break them down into monthly and weekly ones. Their goals should contribute to your goals, and your weekly meetings are designed to keep them on track toward meeting and exceeding those goals. Shared goals. We're all going to the same place.
Absolutely. And right above the paragraph that Kent just read on page 164 is training and consulting the right way. So you're going to train for knowledge and skills, All right, then you're going to take action, and then you're going to consult for accountability. Okay, that is the proper way, and that's continual cycle. If you go to the next page, it's the way most agents do it, right? They hire, they say, follow me around and do this, and then they meet on the fly. All right, that's the way most agents work. And this is a paragraph that I have and you can ask all the people that work with us. I've been known to do this before, and it's called seagull management. It says these agents are practicing seagull management. They do little training or none at all, and then they just swoop in, make a lot of noise, dump on people, and fly off. Is there any wonder they can't find or keep talent to work with them? So you've got to understand that if you take the time, and we'll talk about this more in just a second, we talk about cul-de-sac talent and capacity talent. If you take the time, and it takes a lot of time to hire people, if you go through the career visioning process and spend it, then train them properly. You know, show them what you're going to do, and then allow them to do it. And then the next day, show them a little bit more, and then allow them to do that. And understandably, allow them to make mistakes.
So Pam, that was a good lead. Why don't you go ahead and talk about cul-de-sac versus capacity talent?
Okay, so if I had a whiteboard, and if I was like Joseph, I'd have one beside me. But I just want you to think about a cul-de-sac. All right, in a neighborhood, you have a cul-de-sac, and what that is just a circle, right? So cul-de-sac talent, and understand there's a place for cul-de-sac talent in your business, but it's not your lead administrative role. Okay, it might be a runner or something like that. But a cul-de-sac talent is someone that comes in to their job, if you will, and they do their job. All right, but they don't take it to the next level. All right. They don't look at you and say, okay, you know what, Ken, I know you were doing this task today and that task today and this and that. And you know what, I think I'm going to take this away from you so you can go lead generate some more. I know that you've been wanting to go to that networking meeting, but I know you've got, to prepare this package, listing presentation, buyer presentation. You don't need to be working on that. Let me take that away from you and you do it. That is capacity talent. Those are people that look at what you're doing and they understand that maybe you're doing a little bit of the 80% that you shouldn't be into, and they take it away from you. Cul-de-sac talent, it doesn't do that. They just come in and they do their job and they wait till 5 o'clock, and then they go home and they come back again at 8 or 9 o'clock the next morning and they do their job and they do it well. Don't get me wrong. Well. These people do their jobs really, really well. They just don't take it to the next level, or they don't grow the position. All right, we're always looking for people to grow in their position, and cul-de-sac talent won't do that.
Yeah, cul-de-sac talent, if you tell them to do 1, 2, and 3, they're going to do 1, 2, and 3 very, very well.
Right.
Capacity talent will do 1, 2, and 3. Maybe we'll figure out a better way to do 1, 2, and 3, and then they will start thinking how they can do 4, 5, and 6, and just take them, off of your plate. So
so we talked about career visioning. There's also on page 234, if you'll turn to that in your book, it's called RTCK. And it's pretty much the same thing as what we've been talking about with career visioning. And he says the biggest people challenge you'll have is this: as busy as you are, you'll still have to find time to learn and put into place the RTCK, recruit, train, consult, and keep process. If you're going to hire someone, learn to hire the absolute right person for the job. Someone who can do the job, solve difficult problems, and think at a high level. If you're going to hire a truly talented person, you'll also need to learn how to train and consult her or him to be effective. And if you're going to hire, train, and consult someone that you've invested a lot of time and energy in their development, you'll surely want to learn how to keep them, right? Keep them. And that's all about consulting, not just for accountability, but consulting to see exactly what they want, what their big whys are, right, what their dreams are, what their aspirations are. You have to stay in conversations with them.
Yeah, and that's the third area of mastery on here, is that accountability piece. And I'll tell you this, Pam and I, at one point, we were just like you guys. Probably most of the people on this call, if we ask you, what is your one thing? Hopefully most of you would say lead generation, because most of you are still in sales, and you would say lead generation is my one thing. And for a long time, lead generation was our one thing. Now we both still lead generate, but lead generation is not I actually replaced lead generation with this one, accountability. When I got enough people in my world that if I held all of them accountable to their goals, then I knew I would make mine. That's when it became accountability, became my one thing over lead generation, and it flipped for me if you get it bigger. And a little different way. I'm gonna give you one more way to look at talent, because you guys are gonna be out searching for people. So when you're searching, you might find what we call potential talent. Now, potential talent is going to be, that's typically new people, but it's new people that show that they have the skills, behaviors, and motivation to succeed. And so with the potential talent, that costs money. Now, if you go to the next level, that would be emerging talent. So emerging talent also has the skills, behaviors, and motivations that you would need to succeed, but they have a short track record of doing it. And that's gonna cost a little bit more money. And then the third level is gonna be proven talent. So proven talent has the skills, behaviors, motivations to succeed, but they have a long track record. Because for me, the biggest indicator of future success is past performance. There's nothing that tops that. If you've been successful in the past, that's what says it, and that's going to cost you the most money. And so that's what you're going to think about when you're doing the hiring. So Pam, before we move off of level 2, I know people that there's some of the questions that we get, and if we had more time, we would talk deeper. Pam, can you hire part-time admin?
Absolutely.
Sorry. Sure you can, right?
Absolutely.
If they're talent, right?
Right.
Yeah. How about virtual? Can you do virtual?
Absolutely.
Well, right now,
It's been proven to us that we can work virtually. Now, we never ever had a virtual agent or virtual administrative side of our business, but COVID proved to us that, you know what, that was a limiting belief of ours.
And for 18 months, we've done well. And here's for Pam and I, when you talk about virtual, you have to remember, if you guys are from, and we maybe talked about this earlier, if you guys are all familiar with the DISC, the DISC, and how people lead, Pam and I both, we both have a lot of D, but we both have a lot of that I. We love people. We love being around people. That's the reason that we don't like virtual, is because we don't get to love on our people. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just not our personality type. Is we like hanging out with people and seeing people. And
well, that's when it goes back to your natural behavior.
Yeah,
so in any hire, and that's why you do your KPA, your Keller personality assessment, to see who people are naturally, because you can do things for a short amount of time really, really well. But if you do something that you're not naturally gifted at for a long period of time, you'll have a burnout. So if we had to do Zooms 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like we did for a while, that would burn us out, because we like energy. We like personal energy that we get from being physically with other people. So I want to share with you the 10 principles for empowering people. And this is part of that, the career visioning that really talks about success through others. And number 1, and again, Christine, please stop us if there's a question, because this is a lot of information that we're throwing at you. You might have some questions come up. You should stop us at any time. But number 1, the first principle for empowering people are tell people what their responsibilities are and get agreement. There's a great class called Customer Experience, where the first one is set expectations. So you set expectations with the people that you've hired and make sure that they understand it and get agreement with them. Number 2 is give them authority equal to their assigned responsibilities. Number 3 is set standards of excellence and guidelines. We are all about standards in our business, and that's the benchmark. Everything we really truly want is above that standard. 4 is provide initial and ongoing training that will enable them to meet those standards, like additional skills or additional knowledge. Hold them accountable and define consequences. We always say you better inspect what you expect, right? And then have consequences after that. Provide them with weekly feedback on their performance. Number 7 is recognize them for their achievements. Of course, praise in public and correct in private. And then trust them. I can tell you one thing about the administrative roles that we have in our team. We trust them with everything. If you don't have trust, and again, that's something that you earn, right? But you have to trust them and allow them to grow into their self-leadership themselves. Number 9 is give them permission to fail. We talked about that earlier. It's okay to fail, right?
It's when you learn the most.
That's when you learn the most, and encourage that. And then treat them with dignity and respect. Respect is key in our relationships. So,
Hey, Ken and Pamela, I've got a question. A quick question on the chat box. And I know we are hanging on this admin part a little bit. There are some questions on the chat box. If we are hiring a great talent now, because what you are saying here right now, it's a person is awful talented, great at doing marketing stuff, great at creating templates, great at spreadsheets, like probably the mad scientist of spreadsheets is what you want to hire as an admin, right? Now, these people are very talented. The challenge that some agents may have in their experience of hiring people is the cost of that hiring of that person. Is there a compensation model where they get a basic salary plus a percentage of the commission? Is that something that you guys practice over there? Or is that a possibility to have that model to compensate that talent?
Okay, before Kent gets into this, I want to tell everybody one thing. When you hire the right person, and yes, you can do that, and Kent will speak on that, Jonathan. But if you hire the right person, if you've got to 20 transactions or 25 transactions, whatever your ceiling is, then when you hire the right person, the talented person, that should give you an additional 20 transactions. All right, an additional 20 transactions. So if you have the right person.
Right.
So yeah, and to echo what she's saying, if you are doing, let's say you're doing 20 by yourself and you hire this great person you're talking about, and you don't go from 20 to 35, 40, 45, guess whose failure that was? It was yours, because they just took all this stuff off your plate and freed you up to go lead generate and sell more. And instead you went and played golf. So if they're talented, that's what you did. Pam and I kind of purposely left compensation out of this because we don't understand really how you guys compensate. Here's what I will tell you. Yes, you can do it any way you want to that makes sense. I personally love the idea of paying people per transaction. And go back to your budget model. If you do it that way, it becomes a cost of sale versus an expense.
Salary, right.
And we already talked, the book says you could have 30%. You guys don't have 30% cost of sales. I know, because you don't have help yet. So I know you're not doing that. So without a doubt, you can, whatever compensation model makes sense for you guys, that's what I would do. But go back, we got to track it. And you got to make sure that you're making money or making time or making both off of those hires.
And remember, you've got that 30, 60, 90. So if you decide to hire somebody, maybe in a salary position, whatever it is, you don't think of that salary being, out of your pocket immediately. If they're not performing 30, 60, 90 days, then you can get rid of them. So if you think if you've gone through the career visioning system with them, then you'll know that, but you're not spending that entire salary out of the gate.
Yeah, and I would, and Jonathan, this would probably be for those people that are at this level. It's probably be a great mastermind for you guys to hold, where you could talk about, okay, in Malaysia, this is what makes the most sense, because you would understand the economics better.
Right, and you make a very good point, because the objective of hiring the talent is so that you grow your business and have a bigger business and a better life, not to hire a talent so that you have a better life first. Right. And then you get a bigger business, because that's what you say. A lot of people want to hire talent so that they go play golf, and that's where the problem comes, because when they play golf, the business is not growing, right? And the talent, you can't afford the talent anymore. So that's a very good point. So good point. There's another question in the chat box. Is it more effective to hire an admin or partner with a producing agents, as both agents can play different roles?
That is not our model.
That is not the model. The model is and if you look at it, the model is to have one leader. And John, and here's I'm gonna tell you, I've done a lot of research on this. First off, people, if two people get in business together, they're both going to think they're doing more work than the other one is. It's just human nature that they're providing more. There's all these rubs that come in there that it says not to do that. But I'm going to give you one more reason to think before you partner with somebody. And I want you to go back to that 30, 30, 40 model that we talked about. There is a net profit at the end in there. And 40 is the goal. In reality, the millionaire real estate agent is more like 25% is what the net profit is in reality. They're working to get there. So let's say that Pam is not my wife. Pam is somebody else's wife, but she's my business partner. So now we've got that net profit of 25%. And now I've got to take 12.5% and go back to my family and run that life. And she's got to take 12.5 and go to that family and run her life. And that's not a lot. The reason that we get to do this as husband and wife, and that's okay, and they recommend not partnering, is because we run one household off of this. And so therefore the numbers make sense. So that's the only reason that I can figure that husband and wives are treated differently in doing that. Partnerships very, very seldom work out. There are a couple examples out
I
there,
was going
but
to
they're
say,
tough.
in our organization, there you could probably count them on one hand how many partnerships really work out. But that business has to be so large that, as he said, that 12.5% is still a lot of money.
Yeah,
Right.
we've got good friends that are partners that have been extremely successful. And Molly DeMatos and Matt Tapper. Molly DeMatos always tells me, Kent, if you ever find anybody that's thinking about going into a partnership, tell them to call me first and let me tell them not to do it. Because it was so hard, I don't think we would do it again. Yes, we succeeded, but the pain that it took to get here wasn't worth it.
Correct.
So the goal is always one leader, one CEO, but you can partner with someone at a lower range in terms of they can be the admin, the buyer's agent, but there's always one absolute leader.
Absolutely. We believe everybody on our team is our partner, right? I have a lead luxury partner. We have, a Hickory partner. We have all of these partners. Our administrative team is our partners, right? We have a saying on our team that you never let it come out of your mouth that that's not my job, right? We are all partners in this business, this organization.
And Jonathan, none of them want to be us, because when COVID hit, a year ago in March, you know what, they're like, oh, well, man, things can be slow for a while, but that's okay, because I'm not running a business. I do this over here.
The risk.
For Pam and I, what we were doing is, the first thing we were not doing is we were not sleeping. When COVID hit, you start worrying about your business. But then, I'm out there, and Jonathan, you were probably doing the same thing. I'm out meeting with financial people, making sure that I've got the backing I need if the real estate market completely tanks and things like that. They don't want to do that. Our buyer's agents, you know what they want to do? They want to sell real estate. They don't want to be on a Zoom. They don't want to be coaching people. They don't want to hold, they just want to sell real estate. And so that's who when we're hiring, here's what we're not hiring. I'm not hiring me, and I'm not hiring her. We got this covered. I'm hiring people that their one thing is different than mine, that fits into the big picture.
Right. So I mean, there's always this. I think in our region, there's always this concept of cost. But I think if they don't think about how can you build your business bigger, then hiring you're not ready for hiring, right? I think would that be a fair statement? If you're not ready to see your business grow bigger, then hiring is probably not something that you should be doing yet right now, because you're not ready for it.
If you look at our organization, Keller Williams as a whole, the majority of our agents are single agents, or they're single agents with one admin. All right, but that one admin changed their life. So if you go back and you ask all of those people, Jonathan, what would you have done faster? What would you have changed in your business? They will say, and I'm talking about the one agent with one hire with their administrative role. They say, I would have hired an administrative hire first, faster, sooner. All right. That's what they'll say, because that's when they can stay in their natural behavior, which is a salesperson,
Right. Awesome.
If you go back, look, the vast majority of agents never leave level one.
Right.
And of the ones that do leave level one, the vast majority of those never leave level two. We just covered over 99% of the real estate agents in the world with level one and two. Yeah, we probably got that covered.
All right. I want to touch on something before we move off of this, off of level two. And this is really important, Jonathan. If everybody will turn to page 163. And we talk about the cost of a bad hire versus a great hire. Okay. And so when you look at that, you'll go down to where you talk about timing. So both of these are going to take either 9 to 12 months, maybe 6 if you're really good at career visioning. But the difference between a bad hire is 9 to 12 months of time and money, and you get to start over, right? You come out of it very frustrated. You're going to put the same amount of time and money into hiring a great hire. But out of a great hire, you gain personal and professional growth, and you come out of it excited and energized. A great hire can change your life. And you're going to put in the time. If you follow our model, which is career visioning, you're going to put in the same amount of time. So make sure you hire talent.
Yeah. So I just saw the question pop up in the chat that said, what percentage of agents in the U.S. are level one? Well over 90%. So in the United States, 50% of the agents in the United States have sold one or fewer houses in the last 12 months. Half of them. So remember, now we're up to like 1.5 million agents, I think, something like that. Half of them have sold one or zero houses last 12 months. So hopefully they don't have an assistant, because I don't know how they pay them. But yeah, 90% of the agents don't have one, won't have one. We're talking about, and I think that's what Keller Williams is telling you. That's not who we're talking to today. We're talking to the people that are truly going to treat this like a business. So it's not a job.
It's not a hobby.
If real estate is your job or your hobby, you don't need to listen to us. But if real estate is the business that you want to own, that's who we're talking to.
One last question. Based on your observation, guys, one last question. I'm sorry, but based on your observations, agents with admins versus agents with no admins, the agents with admins, do you see them thriving better, winning market share better than agents without admins?
Of course, because they got somebody helping them drive the market share.
Absolutely. But you've got to have that mindset that they're going to help you grow your business. The question you need to be asking yourself is, who am I missing from my life that will change my life? Right? Who am I missing from my business that would make a significant difference to my business and helping it grow? So it's always that one person that's the key. That's the absolute key.
Okay, we good? All right.
Awesome.
So and I'm looking at time here, and boy, we're getting way behind. Can I cover level 3 real quick?
Yes, do it.
Okay, so level 3 is really an extension of level 2, because when you go to level 3, you're going to hire a second administrative person. Now, in reality, if you make a really great first hire, you actually don't hire the second administrative person. Your great hire does. And that's when you know you've made the perfect hire, when that person goes in and they hire the second person. And at this point, when you build out to level 3, so it's you and you've got these 2 admin that are driving everything, I'm going to give you the list of your 20%. Here is what you do when you get to level 3. And for those of you that love selling real estate, this should be like the dream setup for you, because here's what you do. 1, you lead generate for buyers and sellers. 2, you show buyers and you list sellers. 3, you write and negotiate contracts. 4, you lead, train, and motivate your team. And 5, you're on a talent search for the next person to add to your life. That is your 20%. And somebody else does the 80%. Somebody else makes sure that happens so that you can focus on that. And earlier I talked about, for a long time, my one thing was lead generation. Well, then I replaced it. My one thing became holding a certain number of people accountable. I still would lead generate, but my one thing, if I held them accountable. Well, now my current one thing is this. My current one thing is I'm on a talent search. That is my one thing that I do, is I'm looking for the next person that I can add to my life that'll change my life and change their life. Do I still hold people accountable? Yes. Do I still lead generate? Yes. But my one thing is finding talent. And I know at level 3, I know there's one thing that Pam wants to tell you to create at level 3.
There's
right?
actually two things that are my favorite part of level 3. Actually, one of them starts from your first hire, but there is a thing called a hit by the bus book. All right. When you grow in your organization, when you really start talking about leveraging, you need to create an operations manual. And I mean, it goes as deep as how you answer your phone. So when you start growing your business, and these are standards that you're going to put in your business, so anybody can come in for any role. And I always use the example of one of our MCAs, Diane Baker, and who has been in the business for 25 years. We started Keller Williams together in 2003, and still when she's starting transmittal, she has a hit by the bus book, and this is why her transmittals are always perfect, because she follows her manual how to do it. And they're live documents, right? Because organizations and systems change. And so whenever there's a change, she makes the change in the manual. So just in case anybody, what happens if she was hit by a bus, right? This role still has to go on. So start early and create your operations manual. Start early, start now, and have a standard in your business, the way it's going to be conducted. My second thing I just don't want to forget, because I know we're running out of time, is on page 167. This is the consultative interview. And nobody likes to be held accountable, right? Nobody really likes to hold other people accountable. But this consultative interview will make your life so much easier. And there's only really 4 questions to it. And number 1 was, what is your goal? What was your goal? Number 2 is, how did you do? Number 3 is, how do you feel about that? And number 4 is, based on how you did, what is your goal and what do you need to do now? 2 side parts from that. Is there anything that might keep you from doing that or meeting your goal? And if you needed training or support to do this, what might it be? Guys, if you follow this consultative interview in your business and in your key hires, your life will be simple because you'll all be on the same page, right? And they will know, if you're asking these questions, they'll know that you care about them and their success. It's huge. Page 167, guys, use it.
Yeah, and Christine, if you need any follow-up on any of this, you need us for us to send you anything that you get out to people, just you make a list and let us know. We'll be glad to send you anything that we have. So, all right, let's go to level 4. Because level 4, this is when you start changing up, because up through level 3, you're doing all the sales. It's all about you and your sales. In level 4 is when you can start thinking about bringing in other salespeople to work under you. Now, yours is going to be maybe a little bit different just because of the way you guys do listings. So on the part 1 of level 4, if you're going to go that route and you're going to think about adding agents to your life, you've got to ramp up your lead gen. Here's talking about you had a lead manager or something like that. You've got to have an expansion. They call it a lever. What is going to be that source that brings enough leads that not only you have enough work to do, but that you can put a buyer agent to work under you? Because that's what they're going to look for. Yes, they're going to be attracted to your success. Yes, they're going to be attracted to some security in the business, but ultimately they're going to want you to provide them leads and teach them how to get their own leads. So there's 2 sides of that. If you want to be on our team and all you want is for us to give you leads, we're not a match. But we will give you leads as long as you will. In other words, we'll give you a fish if you also learn to fish yourself, and we'll keep doing both. And so that's what it really looks like. And that level 4 is, I know for you, because you guys open listings, but at level 4, the thought is you do all the listing side work and the buyers are taken up by somebody else. Because Pam, tell me, what do you get when you start doing this? When you start going toward the listing side, what drives you toward the list side?
Time, money. I mean, that's what it's all about. Market share, mind share. I mean, it's control. I'm a little bit and like to be in control. Yet, so listings. We're talking about leverage today and building your organization. Listings are the only thing that will grow your business. So, but you've got to believe that. We talked about mindset at the very beginning. You've got to have the mindset, understand that listings is what creates market share. Market share is what creates mind share in your community. It's the absolute, we call it listings is the gift of the real estate gods. I think, Jonathan, you said lead generation fuels your business. Well, so does listings. We need to focus on listings. You can, without a doubt, leverage your listings. You can't leverage buyers. When you get a listing, you have the sign in the yard. It creates something to talk about. When you get listings, not only are you getting listings to sell that house, but you get listings to gain more listings. You'll always get buyers from that. And in fact, they say for every listing taken, you will at least get one buyer. At least get one buyer. So you're going to sell that listing, create a buyer, and then create mind share, market share to create more listings. So, and there's a whole virtue. There's like 6 different virtues for seller listings. And the main thing is marketing opportunities that come with it, the additional volume that comes with it after that. But you have to just keep it up. You have to keep focusing on listings. If you don't get anything out of today, it is make your first hire talented and then focus on listings.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm gonna because I know that you guys are going to shut me down here in just a second. I want to run through 5, 6, and 7 really quickly just to kind of give you an overview. At level 5, on the left side, part 1, again, you start ramping up your lead generation even more. And you also have a lead generation department, because at level 5, part 2, this is when other people on your team begin to list. You still go on listing appointments. And I know you guys are open listings, as I still don't know exactly how that works. But anyway, You still want listing appointments, but they do too. But at level 5, that's the big hire. And then level 6, I promised you that we would get there. Level 6, this is when you become the CEO at level 6. And at level 6, you're actually out of sales. And for the most part, Pam and I are out of sales. We don't work with clients, an occasional one or two here, but for the most part, Pam and I are here to run businesses, and everybody else does all the sales and all the other admin stuff. So that's the big part of level 6, is when you just become a CEO and you're running a business. That leads to level 7. And level 7 is when you hire a CEO. Now, the thought used to be you hire a CEO and you go sit on a beach somewhere and they just send you checks. That doesn't work so well. Just because you hire a CEO, you're still kind of the chairman of the board. You're still checking in on that business. You're still making sure that it runs right and it does everything. Here's the one thing that I want to tell you about the 7th level. This is not a race to the 7th level. Very, very, very few people make it there because very, very few people want to make it there. I'm assuming that most of you like selling real estate. That's why you got into it. If you like selling real estate, you should never go beyond level 4 or 5. I'm just explaining what the levels look like to you so that you can decide which one you want. Whichever one you like doing, go do it. If you want to, I mean, Gary does say that we should all aspire to get to level 2 just so we don't burn out.
Yes.
So I'm not going to say stay at 1, but if you love 2, do 2. If you love 3, do 3. Whichever one you like, that's the pathway to your happiness and not anybody else's. It is not a race to the 7th level. And then the last thing, and this is not in the MRA book, but it will be in the new one, there is this thing called expansion. I'm going to put it very simply. Expansion is when you build your models and systems to such a level that you dominate the market you're in. You completely dominate it, and there's actually no opportunity for you to grow any more market share in that market. Then you can think about doing another market. And I'm betting I don't have anybody on this call that is to that point yet, so I don't have to go too deep on it. I will say this, as with everything, Keller Williams has a class. This one's called ESO, Expansion Systems Orientation. If you want to learn more about expansion, I highly recommend you taking that one. I learned, when we took ESO, we learned as much about our team as probably any other class we took, and we weren't going to expand. We just did it to learn about how big a team could be. And we learned.
Well, if you want to see some holes that you have in your business, for sure, you take ESO.
Yeah.
I want to leave you with one additional page in the MRA book, and it's called, it's page number 264, and it's the difference between active and passive income. So he's talking about level 6 or level 7 expansion level, but you really need to know, you as a real estate agent, you are working, right? You're in it. We talk about working in your business or on your business. When you're at level 6 and 7, you work a lot of time on your business, not really in your business. And that's when your money will work, where you work for your money. Eventually, you're going to get to where your money will make money. All right. So in the actual, what level would that be? Probably level 6.
Yeah.
Level 6, and then eventually that your money will make more money, and the money will work for you. So it's kind of just that that Robert Kiyosaki, if you've ever read that book, The Cash Flow Quadrant, where you really may desire to get to the right side of that page, where you figure out how you can invest more in your business. Okay, invest more in your business, and that might be with that first hire, so that first hire will make you more money. All right, or either you'll get back more time.
And Robert Kiyosaki, the book is Rich Dad Poor Dad. And
Yeah.
that's where the cash flow quadrant comes in. And we are 2 minutes over time. So
Sorry, Jonathan.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Do you have a few more minutes that we can ask you a few more questions?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Right. Because we don't sleep till 12 midnight here. So, just so you know. And I think everyone's kind of awake now. So, but I think there are 2 questions on the chat box I want to bring it off to you guys. And then I have a few more follow-up questions on this. How many transactions an agent will have to do in a year to justify their first hire, based on your experience and your opinion?
So in the US, my experience is about 25 deals a year you're going to max out. So that's roughly 2 a month. When you're consistently doing 2 or 3 a month, you don't have to wait the whole year. If you're doing that much, you need to get help. If you don't, you will you will burn out. Now, again, I don't, our offer to purchase is, I think, 17 pages now. I don't know how much goes into your sales. I know how many hours it takes us to close a transaction if we were doing it by ourselves.
And remember, that first hire doesn't have to be full-time. Hire somebody part-time.
Right. Right. And the goal to hire is always to figure out how to increase. And what would be a good gauge or a good benchmark? If I want to hire my first hire, it should bring me 50% or 100% more transaction. What would be a good benchmark that you guys would set as a standard to kind of guide through that first hire? Like, I need to increase my business on a monthly basis or annual basis by how many percent? What would
the book says if a great now this is full time. If you hired a great full-time person, so I'm not talking part-time, or I'm really not talking virtual. I'm talking, that full-time person that truly was following you around picking up the pieces, the book says you should be able to double your business. Now, are you going to double it the first week? No, but that's why you've got that 30, 60, 90. And so break down, if you're doing 2 a month, if 90 days from now I said, hey, you can be doing 3 a month, and 120 days from now you can be doing 4 a month. That's where you're in. But again, John, I'm going to go back. It's not like you can't hire somebody and you keep doing exactly the same amount of lead generation you were doing. You just get the same number of sales. You'll get more time back, but you're not going to sell more.
Right.
And I want people to keep that in mind. You know what? If you have this awesome life and you're selling, 30 homes a year, and you're like, I don't want to sell more homes, I just want some more time back. Go hire somebody and still sell 30 homes and give up just a little bit of money and get a lot of your time back. Because it's your life by design that you're having. It's not mine. It's not Pam's. It's not Jonathan's. It's theirs. And so, you get to pick the life that you want.
But that 90 days is super important. I mean, in our business, we always say, what's today? Today is August what?
17th.
So it's really November 17th, right? So we're 90 days out from for the transaction. So
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, exactly. So you need to really realize that. And like when you hire that first person, the business will come in 90 days.
Oh, I love this comment. We need another session to talk about firing that first hire. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you have to consult them.
It's slow to hire, quick to fire.
Here's the deal.
Slow to hire, quick to fire.
If you set them up and you say, I need you here by 30, here by 60, here by 90, if they're not there, you got permission to hire. I mean, excuse me, fire.
Fire.
Yeah.
Right. Can I follow up on a question on this? If I'm going to join your team right now, Ken and Pamela, I'm going to be your admin. What's my first 30 days looking like? Just a rough estimation.
First, can you shoot me over your KPA? Because I want to see if you're even a match.
Right.
So that's the thing. So if you're a driven person, you're not going to like what I tell you about hiring. If you're a driven person and you're going to make that first hire, guess what? You're going to spend the whole first day with them. And you're going to spend time with them every day for the first 30 days. There's a ton of training that goes in. And especially if they're new to real estate, holy cow, there's a ton of training, but that doesn't mean they're not talented. And if they're new to KW, there's a ton of training. So, but Pam, what would you say?
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, it's you can't just throw somebody into the office and expect them to have success. So we always say it's like letting a kite go. You let it go just a little bit at a time, and then you watch them succeed.
Yeah, but do not. Here's a warning for you. Do not try to get your systems perfect before you hire somebody. Because here's what I know about all the great salespeople on this call. Y'all aren't good at systems because you're not good in sales. So get your systems manageable.
That's probably that's probably the biggest mistake most sales people do is they try to create systems and then they hire somebody in to run the systems. Well, I can promise you, if you're hiring talent, they're going to come and change all of your systems or create new ones. So don't waste your time. You're not good at it.
Right. What's a good example of a standard for the first 30 days that you set for someone like this? Like if you don't hit this standard,
in the
first 30 days, like this, if you don't hit this standard, like you are not likely to be in business anymore with this person.
If you cry within the first 30 days, we're not a match. The judging is my time. That's how I judge it, is my time. Am I getting the time? Because here's the deal. If I get a job back, we're not a match. And so that, to me, that's the real judgment, is how am I getting to spend my time? And am I seeing them take over things and me release things, is what it is. But here's the thing. So the question you haven't asked is, what's the first thing you take off your plate when you make a hire?
That's right.
Okay, well, here's the answer. You have two choices. If you, one of two things is the first thing you take off your plate: what you hate or what you're not good at. It doesn't matter if you hate doing it or you're not good at doing it. Take that off first, because it's all the 80%. I don't care what you don't like, but start getting rid of that stuff. Get more. That's how I look at it, is just, what do I not want to do? Now, for me, I don't like any of it. I'm not good at inputting stuff on a computer. I'm terrible at scheduling appointments for pictures. Sure as heck can't upload, download, front load a picture.
I'll give you my number one thing, Jonathan, is that if they do not have my database up and going, if they're not taking all the sticky notes from everywhere that I've, thrown around, if they haven't taken my notebook and gone through my notebook and put all of my notes inside our database, then the database is the most important thing an agent can have. Right? Your database, your data bank. If you don't have a database, and if you're not systematically communicating with it, that's their number one thing, because we as agents are not good at that.
Yeah, okay? John said last week he sold his database twice. He sold one in Florida and sold one in North Carolina.
So database management is my number one thing. My number one thing. But again, if you want to know what their role is, Jonathan, get this Excel spreadsheet from Keller Inc., the 192 task real estate agent. It will tell you exactly what they're supposed to be doing, right? And the first one is their database and designing systems, that they can use efficiently, because their goal is to get your organization, your administrative side running well, so that they can start taking things off of you, because you're still going to be doing a majority of the task. So their goal is to get the systems up and running, get your database where it's easy to start putting more people in, and then take more tasks off of you. Right.
So studying your own business and figuring out what are the stuff that has to go first, and get that person to run that one first. Because if you can't do the things that you don't want to do and you can't do, then likely there's an indication that we are not a fit.
Right. Right.
It
is. Right.
They're not a bad person. They're just not a fit for the role that you need. Yes.
Right. Cool. There's another question. In your experience, where is the best place to hunt for these talents?
Oh, that's a great question. That's such a great question. And I tell you, my number one place is my database. The people that I already know.
Sphere of influence.
Sphere of influence. Letting people know, what we're looking for, but you've got to know what you're looking for.
Yeah. So, and I'll run them quickly. Sphere of influence, allied resources, social media have been the best.
And there's other things you can pay. You
can pay, like
LinkedIn.
For us, we can do Indeed or things like that. But no, it's Sphere of influence, allied resources. Ooh, family members.
It does work in some situations, but not most of them.
That's up to you. I'm not going to judge your family.
I'm imagining Ken's expression right now. What's the story behind that expression? So
there's many stories.
But the thing is just our oldest son right now. He's the tech trainer and the assistant team leader at the #1 market center in the world, Charlotte Valentine.
Right.
He's a great fit down there. He likes KT, our oldest son. KT likes advice from me. He doesn't like direction as much. He was just a better fit. He worked with us. It made sense for him to go work somewhere else and find his own way. And by the way, he is a phenomenal tech trainer. If you're looking for anything,
give him a call. Jonathan, yeah, KT Temple, he's amazing. And then our son Hunter Temple is an agent on our team as well. So it absolutely works. It's just like having a kid. They don't like to be told what to do.
Benefit of part-time and first full-time for the first hire, right? What's a better option? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, if money's no object, I want full-time. Here's my thought on part, because that comes up a lot. I'm okay with part-time to begin with. Here's what I would love to see though. Can that part-time grow with you to full-time? Because if you find that really talented person part-time and you can't have them full-time, you're going to be disappointed. But yeah, part-time's fine. It's your needs and it's what you can afford and grow into it. So I get it.
Right. There might be opportunities in your market center. Like if you have a transaction coordinator in your market center that's helping multiple agents, that's a great thing. We have that, you know, so when our agents get busy, it's not like a true commitment. They can utilize leverage from the market center, maybe sort of a concierge service.
And if you don't have that, that might be an opportunity for somebody in your market center to become a transaction coordinator for multiple agents to get things from contract to close.
But that comes to the next question. Is it advisable to have one admin for 2 or 3 agents?
I think if it were a market center person, yes. If it's just an individual, I don't know about that.
It's tough because it's tough because if you have one admin that's, and I'm not talking, if it's just transactions, that's fine. If you've got one admin that's trying to help multiple people, their businesses are not going to be equal. Somebody's business is going to grow more than the others. There's going to be strains on there. And I'm not saying don't do it, but I just would think about that. And then what happens, so Pam and I, we have different businesses and we're sharing an admin and her business takes off. So now she goes to the admin that we share and she says, okay, I need a full-time admin. So you can either go with me and I'll hire you full-time, you work just with me, or you can stay with that loser Kent and you probably can't afford it.
Well, and another thing to think about is as real estate agents, our problems are always the most important, right? So, you know, who's going to take priority of the day? So you just have to be careful.
But we could do a market center concierge service for certain stores, like for example, uploading my database, managing my some of my campaign stuff,
absolutely
this kind of stuff. You can just pay them a flat fee a month and get that concierge service out of the way.
And that's actually a great way to start until you build your business big enough just to have your own person that really focuses on you.
You know, for us, it would take me hours to put a listing into our MLS, right? So that's not a good use of my time. So maybe having somebody to take the listing, put it in MLS. I mean, you know, our administrative team can do that in, you know, 10 minutes, which would take me 10 hours. So, you know, yeah, absolutely leverage that. If you have a concierge service in your market center, would be beautiful.
Right. I'm going to switch gears a bit for a couple more questions. I know we're out of time, but just give me 2 or 3 minutes more. But I think this question is a good question, that a good conversation that we didn't talk much about this tonight. It's having a buyer's agent. So maybe talk to me about a buyer's agent. If I want to be a buyer's agent in your team right now, what's the standard and what's the expectation that you have set for me?
Well, our standard for our team is 2 transactions a month, right? If you're not pulling in 2 transactions a month, then you're not hitting their standard. And then we give you a 30, 60, 90-day plan to either build your business up or get out. Okay. So, so that's the standard of our business for a buyer's agent. So, I mean, I would say it's all about lead generation. I mean, the whole thing is they've got, as Kent said, we'll give you leads as long as you're producing your own leads. And so the standard is 2 deals. You've got 90 days to start getting your 2 deals, and then, or you've got 90 days to, you know, we say, you know, what's the old saying? We self-discover that we're just not a good fit.
and Jonathan, if you come to me and so you're going to be on my team and you tell me your goal is to sell 30 houses this year. So the whole year, if you're going through and if you're on pace to sell 30 houses, which was your goal, and I agreed to that goal, I'm never going to push you to do more. It's not fair. We agreed that was your number. And so as long as you're on that goal. Now, on the flip side, if you're not hitting that goal, then I'm going to push you. And the way I'm going to push you first is if you're on go for 30, you lead generate when you want, where you want, how you want. I don't care because we agreed on it. You're not hitting it, then I get to be involved in when and how and where you lead generate.
That's when that kind of consultative interview comes into play every single week. We expect 411s and Monday of every single week from our agents, because, and we talk about the pipeline. if they're out there working, lead generating, and they're not having immediate closed sales, but their pipeline is 6 to 12 months out, we're okay with that because they're doing the activities that they need to be doing to grow their business. But if they're not writing that down, we don't see it, they don't see it. They just think what I'm doing is not working, but it just takes some time to build up your businesses. And we get that. We understand that.
Right. So it's just having that clarity of the activities and inspect what you expect kind of a conversation that has to happen, right? Yeah.
And it has to happen up front. The expectation is set up front. I know last week somebody asked John about, how do you get people to work with other people? You set the expectation up front.
Right.
And when I'm with a client, they're going to know real quick that I'm not the person that you want taking a photo or uploading a photo. I've got people way better at that stuff. What I'm good at is going out and getting your house sold.
There's another conversation that we don't talk about a lot, but it's been super useful with our agents, and it's called the cash talk, Jonathan. It's KASH. And at the end of every week, we have a conversation, right, with how their week has gone, and the K stands for their knowledge, right? Like, what additional knowledge would you have needed to have a more successful week? And then the A is all about their attitude. Okay, so you've been in a ornery attitude all week. What's going on? Let's have a conversation about how you're feeling. The S is all about skills, right? So maybe it's handling objections. Maybe they're handling, maybe they're having questions that they're not able to articulate back to the client or the consumer. And then the H is all about their habits. Maybe they're not bringing the 411. Maybe they're not exercising. Maybe they're not meditating. Maybe they're not eating well. So what habits maybe do you need to change to have a more successful life and business? So that cash talk. So we talk about 411 every Monday. Right. Let's talk about, the activities so that you're hitting your monthly and yearly goals. And then at the end of the week, let's have that cash talk. What knowledge, attitude, skills, or habits do we need to focus on?
Right. So that's the coaching conversation that you guys have with the team. Is that a one-on-one conversation, or is that more of a team conversation?
That's more of a one-on-one conversation.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
Because you want them to get vulnerable.
Right. So another question in the chat box, last question, I think, how have you experienced admin that's done remote? I think that's virtual admin. I think it's talking about virtual admin. Remote admin means admin that's not in the office with you, but they are virtually serving the team. Have you have any experience in that, in terms of how does that really work? Is that possible?
I believe it absolutely is possible. There's plenty of agents that do it. We on our team have not done that. We actually like to go in there and see what they're doing, talk to people, touch them, whatever. We like to have physical interaction. But that's just us.
That's us.
Plenty of people are super successful, and there's companies that that are trained where Keller Williams. So that's absolutely possible. We just don't personally do it.
If we look at this, we're not the team for everybody. Just like Keller Williams is not the company for everybody. If you're not learning based, we're probably not the right company for you. Right. So our team's the same way. There's certain people that would just get along better in our environment that we set up, but you're going to find yours.
Right, and it's up to us to define how does that look like, right? So you have the choice and the power.
It's your business.
Right. That's powerful, because that's something that we have to kind of make our decision first before we go out and start expanding this way. Right.
All about your mindset.
Right, all about mindset. Yeah, there's an aha here. I think 90% are only at the level 1, because it's just too much for an agent to rise up to level 7. We can't just be a sales agent, but we need to be a leader who can cast vision, train, and yet bring in the sales. So that's a great aha. I think what Joanne is saying. Great aha.
Yep, it's a lot. You take all the risk, and you're the one that had the sleepless nights. And that's why most people stay at level 1. But if you want to grow your business, you need to get to level 2. And that's the most important thing.
Yep.
Awesome. Guys, if you're learning something from Ken and Pamela, how many of you are learning something? If you're learning something, please press 1 in the chat box here to kind of let us know that you are learning something, because we are still not awake. We are still very wide awake. You have probably caused us not to sleep tonight, guys. So I want you to know that the impact is really great. If you can, guys, express your gratitude to Ken and Pamela. And this is the last series we have with this group of people, this group of very, very exciting, powerful, and high energy people that's been pouring into our life and business for the past 4 weeks. And Ken and Pamela, thank you so much for taking time off your business. I'm so sorry we took too much of your time, an additional 22 minutes. Is there any last words or last thoughts or last advice that you want to share with us in terms of how can us as agents build a successful business with the right people?
So first off, well, I want to tell them that, Jonathan, my next meeting that I'm late for now is with Mark Brenneman. So when he calls you, you're going to tell him it's your call. Because Brenneman's waiting on me right now, but that's okay. All right, you go.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not scared of Mark Brenneman. So my whole thing, Jonathan, is believe that you deserve it, right? I mean, whatever your goals are, believe that you deserve it, believe that you can do it, and ask for help. You know, if whatever level this is the greatest thing about our company, is that anybody will give you anything if you just ask for it. And so whatever struggles you're having, challenges, opportunities that you're having, ask people for help, and then take the advice and see if it works for you. So, but yeah, just believe that you can, believe that you deserve it, because you do.
All right, here's my one thing. Follow
Yes.
the model. Follow the model. Do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. I hope once this whole crazy pandemic is over, we can get you guys to Malaysia and really spend some time together. And we have a lot of good culture and good food here, and I think you'll be happy to come and join us. Right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one.
Pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. See you all. Thank you very much.